To the regular meeting of the South Haven City Council. Today is Monday, January 6, 2025. Happy New Year. Could we have, this meeting is called to order. For the invocation, we have a moment of silence. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could we have a roll call, please, Megan?
Jeff Arnold.
Here.
Mary Hosley. Here. Wendy Onuki.
Here.
Joe Reeser.
Here.
George Sleeper.
Here.
Letitia Wilkins.
Here.
And Annie Brown.
Here. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. There is no community update, so we were moving on to public comment. These are for items on the agenda, excluding items scheduled for public hearing, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Elaine Herbert. This litigation tonight, set for closed session, is about the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, a federal law that requires the city to provide the fullest possible disclosure of information to the public upon request. When then resident, before she was elected councilwoman, Ms. Hosley filed a FOIA at her own expense against the city. She did so in order to object to withheld and redacted documents regarding the first Overton project. It took 3 years for the court to rule that the documents she sought were indeed unlawfully withheld and redacted, and it took so long and cost so much primarily due to the city stalling when responding to the case. Now the final question is simply about refunding Ms. Hosley for her attorney fees and damages, and frankly, that deserves transparency. Why are you in closed session for this? FOIA is a right we all have, freedom of information. It's mighty hard to get information from this city. Bad FOIA responses erode public trust. It can cost those involved, like the city clerk and city manager and even the mayor, their jobs. It exposes the city to lawsuits like these. FOIA is immensely important. FOIA is the last resort for we residents who get zero response to email or phone call questions we send to zoning administration, code enforcement, or the city manager, or even city council. I encourage residents to use FOIA. After private citizen Hosley's lawsuit, the city created for the first time a dedicated website FOIA link. Prior to this FOIA link, you needed to Google how to do it. I doubt this website FOIA update was a coincidence, as the city's kludgy website is an antique and rarely updated. Hosley's FOIA lawsuit no doubt inspired this website reform. This closed meeting tonight goes to the very heart of transparency, since FOIA is about transparency, and this lawsuit brought against and judged against our city clerk, city manager, and city is for violating that transparency. Why not discuss this for residents to witness right here in open session? According to Open Meetings Act, the vote to go into closed session requires 2/3 vote of the city council members present. Of course, Councilwoman Hosley will recuse herself. I hope 2/3 of council will vote to let residents and Ms. Hosley see what is being decided that affects us all. Please go open meeting with this. Open Meetings Act says this about the only reason going into closed session regarding trial settlement. Only if an open meeting would have a detrimental financial effect on the litigating or settlement position of the public body. Please make certain that whomever makes a motion to go into closed session makes it clear for the record and in line with rules of Open Meeting Act what exactly is the detrimental financial effect of the litigating or the settlement position of the city that requires this to be hidden from the open meeting. Then vote to meet in open session. My two latest FOIA requests, as you know from my emails, have led to the incredible discovery on two STR properties that 5 years of STR applications, inspections, and other documents are somehow said to not exist, though the registrations appear for those 5 years in the city BSA. If documents were once on file at the city and now are said to not exist, what conclusions are we now to come to? It's a federal crime to destroy public documents. I have suggested that nothing is lost in the internet cloud. Let's find out how and why and where documents have disappeared, and that would be a tribute to the freedom of information. Let this tonight an open meeting granting Ms. Hosley's attorney's fees and damages be a warning to city clerk and city manager that continued FOIA violations like withheld documents, like late responses or extensions automatically taken without valid reasons contrary to guidelines and procedures.
You have 1 minute.
Thank you. What in the world happened to 5 years of missing SDR documents? Claims that my appeal of FOIA response went to city manager's spam mail, basically the dog ate my homework excuse. This all puts our city in legal jeopardy. Please vote no for closed session tonight, and please ask how and why 5 years of once existing city STR records are now said to be non-existing and missing. Thank you.
Paula Maddock, 94 Alkenberg Street. I'm reading this for Lisa Veck, 879 Monroe Boulevard. She's unable to attend this evening. Unfortunately, dear City Council, I am unable to attend tonight's meeting due to full-blown case of COVID-19. Otherwise, I would be here. As I believe you all know by now, contamination is an issue of vital importance to me. The new Overton plan looks much improved. I wish the 3 stories could be done as 2 stories with apartments side by side, but I guess I can't have everything. My concern is a lack of mention of environmental testing, study, and due care plan. I hope these are in the steps to come, as I know many are anxious to hear about them. We all know the Overton property is extremely contaminated. Additional testing since the underground tanks were found is required. An environmental study is mandatory, and so is a carefully constructed and overseen due care plan that meets all Eagle, MSHDA, and or any other state cleanup requirements. The cleanup must also be done simultaneously and not in phases to help limit residents' exposure to the dangerous chemicals. The chemicals at Overton are cancerous and are proven to cause birth defects, illness, and even death to those exposed. These outcomes can be years in the making. As our representatives, you are making decisions today that will have repercussions for years to come. This impact can be positive or horribly negative, depending on how we choose to undertake this project, the right way or slipshod. Financial status should have no connection to the ability to live or buy a safe home, and it is up to you, the council, to protect current and future residents of the Overton by insisting the job is done right. Sincerely and respectfully, Lisa Beck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan Agnello, 964 Everett Parkway. I agree with Paula said that Lisa had stated, and also the email that Nancy Nat had sent you. I'm going to read basically the email that I sent all of you on Overton 2.0, I call it, just so it gets in the public record. Have you noticed all the neighbors are concerned about environmental aspects of Trailside and Overton, okay? And the biggest problem is the due care plans, environmental assessments. Due care plan, like I've said many times, for Trailside isn't worth the paper it's written on. There are no engineering controls as it calls out in the DCP to be done. And as a result, you've seen the emails I've sent with problems that we've had in Trailside too. But I've mentioned several times at the past CC meetings that the ESA and the due care plan, along with deep detail, that's the key word, mitigation engineering controls, must be generated by Overton 2.0 right up front. We need to know what they're going to be doing. like on trail side, nothing was done until I got a hold of the drain commissioner through Mr. Mike Landis, and he looked at the drainage problems, and that's how the silt fence got there, okay? It wasn't in the Duke Care plan. It wasn't in engineering controls because there were no engineering controls on any of the infrastructure drawings. I had my meeting with Dana, okay, and there's nothing on the drawing. So we've got to have details, and we've got to have details showing what's going to be done to mitigate, when it's going to be done, and how often it's going to be inspected. Mr. Landis is already out for proposals to get a consultant for the city, which is great. We'll have an expert, environmental expert, that can go against the contractor, environmental person, or whatever, or check them out, okay? In any stages of the project, it has to be checked as they go along and reported to the city, the council, and to the neighbors. The site needs frequently be inspected by the city's environmental consultant. The more work that's done, the more it has to be inspected. The new sampling should be done again. That's about 2 or 3 years ago they did sampling. They did ground penetrating radar. And what did ground penetrating radar find? Buried tanks that nobody knew about, okay? That has to be done again. Look at the last sampling data and environmental assessment report. As was stated by Paula from Lisa's report, anybody looks at the data and the study, there's many carcinogens in there, and there's trichloroethylene in there. Just like the problems they're still having with Belgravia, which is the lofts. They still haven't cleaned it up, and this is going to be, that was a third time they're trying to experiment to clean it up. There's trichloroethylene in the northeast corner of Overton, right where the 2 spare lots are and where they're showing the 2 single-family dwellings, right in that corner. So it has to be checked out because who knows where that's propagated, what's happened to that in the next couple of years. So it's very important that you don't skip the fact that we've got environmental problems. And the fact is we have to do this all at once. That's what killed Overton 1.0. One of the biggest things was they were going to do it in stages. And we said, how can that prevent problems with the neighbors, dust, mitigating that, people walking around, kids walking around? It can't be done. It's got to be mitigated all at the same time. So what I'm trying to say in closing is we've got to be very vigilant on our environmental aspects of Overton 2.0. And I hope you had a nice Christmas. Happy New Year. Thanks.
Lisa Croupiers, 561 Indiana. First of all, I'm going to read the letter Nancy Nat wrote to the city. She is at 125 Elkenberg. She writes, I will not be at the meeting on 1/6 for a few reasons. The number one reason is that when I get up to speak about potential cost of remediation of the Overton property, my words are misconstrued by character assassination, being called a selfish, fear-mongering storyteller by members of the community. So I once again will give you the facts of our experience and the state of Michigan costs for remediation at the factory condos. The state of Michigan has, up until this point, spent $11 million on remediation for the factory condos. Of $11 million, and it still is not done. In December of 2023, engineers, a geologist, and Eagle representatives from the state of Michigan had a Zoom call with the board of directors. We were told, to our surprise, that trichloroethylene is still migrating to neighborhood properties and out into Lake Michigan, and they are trying to come up with another way to trap it. They will be here in the spring to attempt this process. I don't have time to go into all of that, but this new project is going to cost $1.6 million. Kate Hosier is well aware of this. I find it very disingenuous that the city told Ryan Servadius that Overton is good to go from an environmental standpoint. It is far from good to go. The last environmental report from October 2023 is the latest report we have on Overton. It is still contaminated. Eagle has not been out to do an assessment of the cost involved with remediation. Overton is continuous with the factory condos property, so logic should tell you that the $11 million cost to the state for the factory remediation should be of no concern should be of concern, to the nonprofit dwelling place as they go into contract with South Haven for the development of the Overton property. Everyone is seeming to ignore the important questions. What will be the cost of remediation of Overton? Will the state of Michigan be willing to fund this? Mayor Brown, being a leader, is to not blindly dismiss asking the tough questions and allowing the city to say Eagle says it is good to go. I have offered to show you all what has been done at the factory condos to assist you with what should be your due diligence, but no one has taken me up on my offer. Overton is not good to go. It requires responsible leadership to ensure the residents and neighborhoods are safe. This should be your #1 priority. A due care plan approved by Eagle covering costs of remediation should be of utmost importance. I also want to add my own comments. First of all, I am very pleased with the dwelling place proposal. I think as in our community group, there was a small group of us that worked on this, and this is very, very close to what we were seeking and hoping for. The only issue I have is with the 3-story apartment section, but I think many of us would be willing to let that go because of the overall project. The placement of that is the best that it can be, where it's on the corner of Indiana and Elkinburg and away from the trail and away from the factory condos. So I am very supportive of this, and I do hope that we get to go ahead. The thing that I want to add to this, thank you. Residents would like the contractual document with dwelling place, if approved, to include review and approval of a response activity plan by Eagle for the remediation, just as a beginning point. Of course, a very detailed due care plan also must be part of the contract if, in fact, dwelling place is selected to develop Overton 2.0. Plus, it is very different in every way, including the cost involved, to remediate vacant land, as Overton is, rather than rehabbing contaminated property and buildings, as has been attempted and continues to be pursued at factory condos. Therefore, doing the remediation before anything is done is going to be, it's absolutely necessary. So let's be transparent and honest regarding the contamination and cleaning up at Overton as we consider and pursue this dwelling place proposal. Thank you.
Joe Wilkins, 8011 Indiana Street. I want to first give a shout out or kudos to the staff, Kate particular too, Annie and the council for being diligent and trying to bring in affordable housing. I'm behind this proposal 100%. I was a part of the group that Lisa was talking about. I think she might have forgot we did away with the 2.0 label because we thought it was a lot of negativity stereotype with that. So I don't want to look at it as 2.0. We learned from what we did, some of the mistakes we made the first time out, and I think there was a lot of unanswered questions answered. I believe the city manager did a great job on trying to bring in the experts from Eagle and other areas for the city to ask questions concerning the property. You had an opportunity. I sat here for 4 years, probably longer than that, listening to the same actors say the same thing. And I think we've answered a lot of those questions, and we've gone past that. And so I'm behind this project 100%. It was like when I heard about it, it was like a late Christmas gift. And to be honest with you, it almost brought tears to my eyes because I think about it all the time, especially when the weather dropped 20 degrees and stuff like that, wind chill factor dropping it lower than that. I had a winter coat on, I had gloves, I had a hat, boots, I had a home to go to, a warm home to go to and a bed to lie down in. But there's so many other people that don't have that opportunity or blessing to be able to go home or have a home to go to. And so I'm behind this 100%. I think we talked about what we needed on that property, and it pretty much, like Lisa said, it was basically what we came up with almost to the T. And so I don't see why anyone would not want to get behind this project and see it come to pass. Mayor Brown, excuse me, that was her number one priority when she ran as the mayor. And I think she has put her voice to trying to make that come to pass, and now we're right at a great opportunity. I don't know, I believe it's just the only proposal that we have. And so what was told to me by other residents is that they don't want the city council to step on its own tail. This is our last opportunity, perhaps, to get this done. And so many people are waiting, especially more important when we see Holtec putting in all the money that they're dumping into that plant. People need places to stay. And so if we want to keep those professionals that are coming to that plant, we have to at least have some place to start off, the working class, workforce housing situation. I think we addressed that, and there's several areas that we addressed. Now, it's not going to be a fix-all, but it is a great start, and it was like a dream come true to me to be able to see houses go up at some point on that land. And so, yeah, I'm going to encourage the council to continue doing what you're doing, approve this proposal to go forward.
You have 1 minute.
Thank you. And again, I want to say to Kate, I've been speaking to this issue for a lot of years, and I come down on the side sometimes hard when I think that we're not doing what the community needs. But in this case, I will say that the city manager did what I think was best to bring in the experts to answer all the questions. We learned from our previous mistakes. I believe that this is a great opportunity to do what's best for our city. Thank you.
Thank you for your support and leadership. Any other comments? If not, we will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve items A through D?
I move to approve consent agenda items A through D.
Second.
Any
I'll second it.
discussion?
Mayor,
Mary?
I found a typographical error with regard to the resolution number and also reference to a 2023 master plan update. I think Kate said she would address it.
Yes, I'm happy to address that. The agenda rightly states that the resolution is 2025-05, but somehow it got put in as 2025-04. So the agenda packet is incorrect, but the agenda is correct. And the resolution does, and this is for the coastal work that we're asking for. But we also did correctly put in there that for the purposes of the state grant that we received, this was funded in 2023, and due to delays at the state level, we didn't receive our funding until 2024. So because this is also tied to the grant funding that we received, we have to put in there that this 2023 state grant.
Okay, although the kickoff was in 2024.
That's correct, but this was part of an award that we received in 2023 that the state, because of the delays at their level, that's why we weren't kicked off until 2024.
Okay.
But for their purposes, they awarded this in '23.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Arnold,
Yes.
Hosley,
Yes.
Onuki,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to new business, the city council will be asked to consider the approval of the following special event applications. A, special event 2025-01, Steelheaders Pro-Am Tournament 2025 to occur May 16th through the 18th, 2025 at the South Side Municipal Marina in Black River Park. And B, special event 2024-02, We Care Island Sit fundraiser to be held February 22nd, 2025 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Welcome Island on Phoenix Street.
I move to support special event 2025-01 and special event I think there's a typo. You mean 2025-02 for the We Care, as read by the mayor.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The special events are approved. Moving on, number 10, the city council will be asked to consider approval of the following resolutions to update the poverty tax exemption, special assessments poverty tax exemption, and the updated poverty guidelines for 2025. Kate.
Thank you, Mayor. These are routine actions that we take every year to update our special assessments with poverty exemption guidelines, and this is for special assessments as well as property tax exemptions.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve both resolutions?
I move to approve Resolution 2025-01 and Resolution 2025-02.
Second.
Any discussion?
Can I ask a question? Does this go out, this information, does it go out in the utility bill, City Waves letter, anything like that? Like, how do people who might qualify know about it?
I'm not sure how it goes out, but I'm absolutely happy to put that in the city waves because this would be for the upcoming city tax year.
Okay.
But we also have a number of people who get this exemption or at least apply for it yearly, so this is something that's well known to them.
Okay.
But this is something we can actually push out and put it on our website so people know more about it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussions? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The motion passes. The resolutions are passed. Number 11, the city council will be asked to consider approval of resolution 2025-03, a resolution appointing a board of reviewing, establishing a rate of compensation, and setting a meeting schedule for tax year 2025. Kate, do you have any comments or?
Again, this is routine stuff that we do at the beginning of the year, but by law, we have to establish a board of review, their rate of compensation, as well as their meeting schedule for the year.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2025-03, a resolution appointing a board of review, establishing a rate of compensation, and setting meeting schedule for the tax year of 2025.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The motion passes. Number 12, the city council will be asked to consider approval of resolution 2025-04, a resolution authorizing purchase and development agreement for the sale of land in the I-196 Business Park. The development agreement is with Lakefront Roofing LLC. Kate.
Thank you, Mayor. The city acquired property back from LMC from the original sale of it to construct the college out there. They had about 10 acres that they really were using for future expansion, but were actually having it farmed. We thought that might be a good opportunity for us to enhance the business park by getting some of that land back and to see what we could do about bringing business in. Through some work by city staff, of course, by Lake Michigan College, we obtained 6 acres from them. And we have been marketing those 6 acres on the city's website as well as putting that out. We have had not as many offers as we would like, but we do have an offer right here on the table before City Council from Lakefront Roofing. Lakefront Roofing is kind of a local company, but they are located in Covert, and they would like to be located here. They've had their eye on a couple different parcels around the city, but have found that this might be the best place. They're looking to construct a warehouse and/or office and show space. Right now, their plan's a little nebulous, but they're looking between 1,000 square feet and 4,000 square feet. And they're looking to retain about 12 to 16 local workers and enhance their jobs here. This is a property that this would be less than market value, but we do see a lot of economic incentives in locating this local business here in our business park and retaining those workers.
Thank you. And would you like, Jason, would you like to speak?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am a long-term resident of the area, very involved in the community. So I've been here for 55 years, other than some military service, 13 years in the schools with basketball. My business partner Ryan and I have been active in the community doing roofing, siding, window and door projects, some remodels, and have been looking for property for quite some time. We actually had a piece and then somebody bought it back from us. And when Griffin Graham was still here, he approached us on this and wondered if it might interest us. And then we started working with Michael and Kate and put in an offer in hopes that we could start having some showroom space and not have it borrowed office space and actually become a bigger asset, not only to the city, but to our employees.
So this is a veteran-owned business?
I am a veteran, yes. It's
Yep.
50-50, and so, yeah, it's 50% veteran-owned.
Thank you. We are thrilled to have you and Ryan in our industrial park. And anybody who knows Jason knows how much he gives back to our community through volunteering and coaching. And I just couldn't be happier. So this is a great addition to our city and to our industrial park. So thank you so much. Okay. All in favor say yes.
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 Opposed?
Yeah, we do.
Take the motion, yeah.
Oh, we
I would
need,
move to approve Resolution 2025-04, a resolution authorizing the purchase and development agreement for the sale of land on the I-196 Business Park, the development agreement with Lakefront Roofing LLC.
Second.
okay. Any more discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The resolution passes. Moving on to the number 14. The city council will be,
13.
13.
oh my gosh, thank you. The city council will be asked to consider the proposal to redevelop the Overton property by the dwelling place of Grand Rapids and consider next steps. Kate?
Thank you, Mayor. Last, I think it's late October, we put out an RFP, a request for proposals, to interested developers for the redevelopment of the Overton site. The Overton site is an area of about 5.6 acres that the city owns title to, that we took through a dangerous building operation. And we held that land for some time after the demolition of the factory there, as the roof was caving in. We've had this property, and this is a transitional area between many different neighborhoods as a potential housing option. And we put this request for proposals out, and we received one proposal, which has been supplied to the council, and it is from Dwelling Place, a nonprofit from Grand Rapids. We have had conversations with Dwelling Place before. They operate a community land trust as well as other low-income housing opportunities in the Grand Rapids area. They've been very interested in coming down to South Haven for some time. As this is the only proposal that is in front of the city council, as well as meeting a lot of, I think, the goals that council members have had, I'm asking the council to direct city staff and city attorney to begin negotiations with this group. This is just but the first step. There's a lot of negotiations and discussions with Dwelling Place to occur, as well as, future meetings with council and Dwelling Place to get more ideas about what this site could be. But this is really the proposal that's been submitted, and really it speaks for itself.
Thank you. Sir, would you like to step forward and talk to us about the Dwelling Place? Thank you for coming here tonight.
Yes, thank you for having me. My name is Matt Sheminsky. I am a housing and community development associate with the Dwelling Place of Grand Rapids. Dwelling Place has been around in Grand Rapids for 44 years, developing mainly affordable rental housing. And we have 40 properties in Grand Rapids and the surrounding communities that we own, operate, and manage, and continue to do so. And about 4 years ago, we also started the Dwelling Place Community Land Trust, which is a vehicle in which we can sell, it's a home ownership style of housing that provides a home ownership opportunity for people who may not be able to enter our market at the current market prices. And currently, we are developing a 43 single-family home development in Grand Rapids. I think 9 out of the 43 have sold so far, and then we have 5 other single-family houses in Grand Rapids that we have sold. And when we saw this RFP for this Overton site, it was very exciting. We were very excited about the community, about what the council was asking, and the city was asking for out of that site, as well as the trail that is directly next to it. So if you have any questions for me about our proposal, I'm happy to answer.
Would you like to start by addressing some of the questions about environmental concerns?
Yes. So the proposal stated that this is a dirty site. There are environmental concerns. Dwelling Place has a history of working in sites that are either old historic buildings or buildings that need to be torn down and constructed a new building on top of. Most of the time, this does involve due care plans and working with Eagle to make sure that we do everything according to their regulations and to make sure that we do everything right by the community. And so we do have extensive experience in that. Like I said, we do know that this is a dirty site. We will work with the city as well as the state and anyone else who to make sure that the way that this site is cleaned up is done in a responsible and respectful manner.
Thank you. Kate, can you just clarify on the comment from Eagle that was made at the community meeting at Listiak regarding the contamination and whether Eagle approved of this project?
Well, so on June 18th of 2024, we organized a meeting with Michigan Economic Development Corporation and Eagle, the Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, to have representatives come in and actually talk about the Overton site. I think it's very apparent that there is contamination on site. Not only have we've stated it, we've actually shared all the reports that we have to date on the site, on our website, so that anyone walking into the redevelopment of this parcel is very aware of what we know. So Overton site is aware or is been known to Eagle, and we've had those individuals look at what we have. What I haven't heard is that the contamination out there is so insurmountable that it cannot be redeveloped for housing. So what there is that, yes, there's plans that have to be made and there's processes that have to be followed, but there is nothing that stops this from going forward, at least having the discussion about what can be done out there.
Thank you. City Council, do you have any questions? Wendy?
Just more of a comment. I was disheartened at first to see that we only had one response, but like some of the community members have said, I feel like we couldn't have asked for a better plan to have in front of us. I just am so happy that it's a nonprofit that would be working on this, that has experience, that there's a land trust component. It seems to be really thoughtful. 85 units is a great number to provide a good start to building more housing in South Haven. I think it sounds great, and I know there are questions about environmental contamination that will be answered down the road, and that will be a priority for us and for you as well. But I feel really excited about this, so thank you guys for
Absolutely. Thank you.
bringing it to us.
Thank you, Wendy. Joe?
Yeah, one of the things I'm impressed by is you're a nonprofit. When our previous developer was looking at Overton, some residents felt maybe they were, I'm choosing my words carefully, making too large a profit on it or trying to make a money grab on the property. So that can't happen here since you're a nonprofit. Is that fair to say?
That's correct. When we develop properties, we use a lot of different funding sources, and most of that funding source goes to the actual development of the building. Some of that money does come back to us as developer fee to repay expenses like environmental plans, market studies, things like that. But us being a nonprofit, any money that is left over or remainder is rolled back into our mission of supporting our residents.
And then the second question has to do with price points. It's really important in that location especially to have diversity and make the property available to all types of income and people of different backgrounds, especially those who have grown up in that community and are slowly being priced out of this town. So one of the concerns I brought up, or maybe I should say one of the questions, has to do with if we have different AMIs, different price points, how will you work with MSHDA? What is your experience? Because the previous developer really ran into snags with them, and we were being locked into 2 different times of the year when you can apply for it. They missed it, and on top of that, they got turned down. So I'm trying to get some feeling of confidence before we go down this path that you're going to approach this differently. So can you give us any idea how you work with MISTA?
Yeah. so
Or
that
any
i-
other kind of financing?
Absolutely. So that is accurate. MISTA, Low-Income Housing Tax Credits, has 2 funding rounds every year in April and December. And so as of right now, we don't have an exact timeline of what this looks like because we haven't been awarded the site yet. But once we are awarded the site, we will start working with our, going through all the environmental issues, learning more and more and more about the site and developing a site plan with our architect. Once we have a solid plan set, that's when we'll submit the funds, or I'm sorry, submit the application for the funds. The low-income housing tax credit world does not move fast. If we're awarded funds in, say, the December round, it could be another year or 2 until construction starts, and so that is something that we are very aware of. We have, I believe, 39 tax credit properties across Michigan, and so we have been developing these since the 1980s. We're aware of how it works. We're aware of how the timeline is situated. And we are very confident in our ability to close on those deals. We have, I think, 5 different LIHTC deals in different, LIHTC stands for Low-Income Housing Tax Credit. We have 5 other deals right now that are in the various stages of closing. And so this is something that is very much within our wheelhouse and we're confident to do, that we can do. And to hit on your point about the diversity of the price points, with the site, the plan that we have it currently laid out is the apartments. Those will be 30 to 80% AMI, area median income. And then the CLT homes would be 80% to 120% of area median income. And so we feel like that is a very wide range of, a very diverse range of income points.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I just want to say thank you. I'm very excited. Do you have a date when you think you might start?
That's very hard to tell simply because we don't know what's under the ground. The environmental issues do seem large here, and then it also requires funding. The low-income housing tax credit dollars are oversubscribed 5 to 1, meaning for every $1 MISTA has, 5 people are asking for that dollar. And so while we're confident in our proposal that it would be funded, it's not a guarantee. And so if it's not funded the first time we apply, we'll make some tweaks to our application to ensure that it is funded the next time around. So I can't commit to any timelines right now, but I can just tell you how it looks at from our point of view.
Okay, thank you. And again, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mary?
And I agree. I was very pleased with the layout. I do think it's much more consistent with what people wanted. And I have heard wonderful things about Dwelling Place and especially Land Trust, excuse me, the Community Land Trust. So that's the CLT that you had referenced, if people were wondering.
Sorry.
Yep, nope, you were very good. You caught yourself very, very many times, so the few times. For the environmental, so I know Eagle and MDEC came here, and one question that I've consistently had because of the rejection letter from MISTA from Habitats, because they had 2015 data. We now luckily have the 2023 data, but Eagle made it appear that if the layout was different, there may need to be additional assessment done. And with the habitat, with how dense it was, there was a lot of non-pervious, and yours luckily has a lot of non-pervious, which I also found helpful. But with that brings additional challenges. And so I think this is something to work with staff on. You know, I know we have an EPA grant. I know an RFP is out for that. I don't know how much can be used for the Overton site. And I think it would be very helpful from the get-go for Eagle to give guidance on what additional work might be needed or whether reliance on the current October 2023 plan is sufficient for MISTA. Luckily, our environmental consultant, Jeff Hawkins, was also Eagles consultant that helped facilitate, I think, expedite matters. And so I would like to see that part of any agreement addressing who might be able to get that going sooner, because I think then we have a better understanding of what our expenses would be, which would help with your financing also, and also knowing what how MISTA would come out on that. I also know another concern was the phased remediation. So in the previous proposal, it was remediation concurrent with construction. And I know people would much prefer to see it all remediated and cleaned or I should say, prepped for construction at one time, such that the dust and things like that are done. I do know the 2023 analysis identified some, I think, refer to them as anomalies, so that would be helpful to know what is or is not there, and that may have to be by physical digging. So obviously starting in the frozen winter would be problematic. And is it too early at this point in stage to have an understanding of where you think the AMI distribution would be between the 30 and 80? Do you know?
So regarding the area median income distribution, right now our plans show the 53 apartment units would be 30% to 80% AMI.
Right.
And then the 30 duplexes and the 2 single-family homes would all be 80 to 120% AMI.
Right, but do you have an estimate of how that would be broken up in the apartments?
At this point, no, I do not.
Okay. But you have that by the time you file with MISTA, correct?
Yes. It'll be a part of our plans.
Yeah, and one other thing from the previous rejection, is I know that because we have a low walkability score of 41, MISTA had said we would need 1.5 parking spaces per apartment unit. So I don't know how that might factor in, but I do know that that was something that MISTA had raised as an issue. And I was just wondering, as part of the process, as you say, I think there's 5 applicants for each dollar. Because I think there's also some low-income housing tax credit housing potentially going in front of the senior center, and it might be same timing. So I don't know how that might factor in, just to try and boost ourselves up as much as possible with our smaller community.
Kate, do you have a comment on that?
The only comment I have is that there's different funding rounds, and it depends on how fast we negotiate a purchase agreement and/or later down the road a development agreement. But that's kind of putting the cart before the horse, really, because we just need to know if council wants to go down the road of starting a negotiation.
But I'm just saying that would be taken into account for timeliness and speediness, trying to get things through, and potential challenges.
Well, not necessarily, but go ahead.
I said potential challenges because of going after the same dollars for the same community.
Yeah, so the way MISTA divvies out its money, it has different regions and different dollar amounts allocated per region. I don't know off the top of my head what region we're in right now or what the dollar amount allocated. But if the top 2 winning projects are in the same community, I believe that MISTA would, it's a scoring-based system. I do believe MISTA would award those awards, but I don't know for sure. Regarding the walkability also, I don't know about a standard for MISTA to have 1.5 parking spaces per unit, but I can definitely look into that. And I think MISTA more refers to the local zoning codes when it comes to parking.
Thank you.
Yes.
Does it give us any edge with MISTA that you're a Michigan developer versus the previous one was an Illinois developer? Since MISTA is from Michigan, does that give us any edge?
I don't believe so.
An edge?
I don't
No.
believe so.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to direct the city manager and city attorney to negotiate a purchase and development agreement with Dwelling Place for the Overton site?
I make a motion that the city manager work with the city attorney to negotiate a purchase and development agreement with Dwelling Place for the Overton site.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would like to see any agreement that comes forward clarify the environmental aspect and whether additional assessment will be required and how that might be paid for, because I think that will facilitate it in the long run, having that upfront.
Any other discussion? Could we have a roll call, please?
Hasley,
Yes.
Onuki,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We're very excited to work with you, so thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who supported this. Okay, moving on. We are now at number 14. The city council will be asked to consider approval of professional services agreement with United States Lifeguard Association to develop a comprehensive lifeguard program for municipal beaches. Kate?
Thank you, Mayor. Last October, we also put out another request for proposal for lifeguard consulting, a consulting agreement to develop a lifeguard program. City Council is considering whether or not lifeguards should be placed on the beaches, and we've had a number of different numbers and what it would cost the city to put lifeguards on the beaches. And due to those different numbers, Council's asked for some assistance from, a consultant. We've received 8 proposals, and my staff and I got together after the Thanksgiving holiday to evaluate them. And a common theme with the proposals was that they were going to be using USLA standards. So reflecting on those standards with city staff, we ultimately, after talking with Chris Brewster from USLA, opted to recommend to the City Council that we contract with USLA to provide consulting to develop a lifeguard plan. Mr. Brewster kind of explained that he would have a small group of about 4 people that would help him draft the plan. Their plan is to talk to many stakeholders, including the City Council, many people from the community, as well as many people who are, pro-lifeguard, and many people who are interested in this topic. And they hope to have a plan in about 1.5 weeks, or at least by the 1st of March, if they're selected.
Thank you.
Do you mean 1.5 months?
I'm sorry, 1.5 months. Thank you very much.
Okay, any questions? Mary?
I do, if nobody else does. So you sent out the agreement to us about 11:30 today and said you sent it to USLA. Have you heard any comments back from them?
I have not.
Okay. For this agreement, I would like to have clarity on the scope of work to make sure that we are all on the same page. For the staffing, there were 2 options, one for all 7 beaches or a subset as deemed appropriate, or option 2 for just South and North Beach. For efficiency, I would like to see South and North Beach addressed, and then independently each beach, and that could include no lifeguards and signage should fall within the RFP, because under item 5 for equipment and supplies, it talks about a comprehensive beach safety and lifeguard program, and it talks about under 6 standard operating procedures.
If I may, so you're asking them to assess what we currently do right now?
No, I am saying that the proposal, when it comes back, because not option 1, I just want to make sure that he does not think that it's expected that lifeguards would be on all 7 beaches.
Well, that's what the proposal asked for, is 2 options.
Well, option one was all 7 beaches or a subset as deemed appropriate. So that says that not all 7 beaches, that less than all 7 beaches. And option two was South and North Beach.
So your option one would be to include all 7 beaches or not to include all 7 beaches?
So option one was appropriate number of lifeguards needed to cover all 7 beaches or a subset as deemed appropriate. So they may say that you do not need lifeguards on all 7 beaches. And they may propose signage instead of lifeguards. So I do not want there to be a misunderstanding that option one means lifeguards have to be on all 7 beaches. We are retaining an expert to advise whether they deem it necessary that all 7 beaches have lifeguards.
The motion for tonight is going to be approving the agreement with the United States Lifeguard Association to develop a comprehensive lifeguard program for municipal beaches.
Correct. And the services agreement that unfortunately did not make it into the packet, and did you bring copies by chance?
I did not.
It says that if there is a, I want to make, it says the RFP and then the agreement, I believe, and then their response to determine what should or should not be done and to ensure efficiency and not causing the proposal, excuse me, to be overly expensive, thinking that option one is to have lifeguards on all 7 beaches. I would like clarification at this point in time to ensure that USLA knows that option one is looking at all 7 beaches, but lifeguards are not necessarily required at all 7 beaches if they deem that a lifeguard is not necessary.
Any other discussion?
If I may, I am understanding what you're saying, and I do think it would be a good caveat to give them in whatever form, because, for example, they might say we should have them at North, South, and Packard Park because there is a restroom there or some kind of structure, and that would help with liability or what have you, I don't know, but that's just an example. I feel like as long as they understand that that's a possibility that we are willing to accept, not saying it's either 2 or 7, but they're the experts, so hopefully they would have that ability to come back with something like that, and it would still meet our request.
Any other discussions? George?
So I agree with Wendy. They are the experts, and as the experts, I don't want to give them direction on what they should be telling us. I don't want them to have any restrictions on what they think we should be doing. And that sounds like what you're trying to say is that we want to give them further direction. I want them to give us direction on how we should do it. And I think the current motion, the way it is, doesn't need to be changed for that to happen.
Thank you. Okay, is there a motion?
I would move to approve a professional service agreement with the United States Lifeguard Association to develop a comprehensive lifeguard program for municipal beaches.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion?
Yes, I would move to amend it to ensure that any questions are brought before city council and are not left to the discretion of the city manager. And I will leave it at that.
Is there a second for that? The motion dies, there's no support. Back to the original, we have an original motion. And was there a second? Okay, discussion.
Kate, do you feel like this says that they would have the opportunity to come back and say, we might need lifeguards on 3 or 4 beaches with what we're asking them? Or are they only going to be very specific with the 2 or 7?
The proposal gave them 2 things that we were looking for, the maximum and then the minimum.
Okay.
And so I'm going to guess that somewhere in the middle, they're going to make a recommendation. But again, this is a report and a recommendation that we have to also tailor for our budgets, right? We can ask for the sky, or well, we can ask to go to the moon, but we don't have that capacity. So they're trying to set up what the best program would be to meet our needs, to meet the safety standards, and also meet for the national certification. So they're trying to kind of help us develop a plan, and we've asked them to look at the maximum number of beaches we have, as well as at least the 2 minimums.
Okay.
So there's bound to be some give and take there, and I understand that council wants to have a good hand in this, but I can't underscore enough that council is one of the stakeholders as part of this, as well as many people in the community, and you're going to have an opportunity to speak with the team that's developing this. If council wants to slow walk this so that every time we have a question, we have to come here to council, that's fine. But the idea was to have them come in and get this out the door, get a report out the door, so council can make a decision as soon as possible.
Could we have a roll call, please?
I'd like to comment. It's not slow walking, it's ensuring that the time is efficient. And you have not answered the specific question, is that does option 1 give them the discretion to provide that they deem it not necessary to have lifeguards at all 7 beaches?
I guess at this point, if we want to change the scope, the agreement allows for that.
You still have not answered the question. Does option 1 allow them to come back to us and say, we do not deem it necessary for lifeguards on all 7 beaches?
Option 1 gives them the opportunity to be the consultant that has the expertise in this.
You still have not said that.
I'm not sure how best to help you then, member.
Let's just go back. This motion is to consider the approval. That's what we're doing.
Correct. The approval of the service agreement that we got at 11:30 today. And based on that, I am trying to make sure that it's clear that the expert has the discretion to say a lifeguard is not necessary on all 7 beaches under option 1.
Yeah.
Kate, could you just make a note that when you meet with USLA, to use their expert judgment, to have discretion to tell us what we
I
need?
absolutely will.
Okay.
I'll
Thank
let them
you.
know that as the expert, they can give us guidance on how to operate
us how to
and
best
draft a
do this.
program.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Sorry. Onuki,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Hosley,
Yes.
and Brown.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Number 15, it's time again for public comment. Citizens in the audience will be heard on items not on the agenda, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Lisa Croupiers, 561 Indiana. I am wanting to speak again on signs in our community, both electronic signs and STR signs in the neighborhoods. I'm adding comments again on blinking, strobing electronic signs, as this is in addition to Ms. Herbert's and my own repeated requests for enforcement of these non-compliant violations from city staff. Here is documentation for the health hazard risks of these visually undesirable signs. This is beyond the fact that these signs do not align with our zoning ordinance. Blinking or strobing lights can pose health risks, including triggering migraines, causing dizziness, disorientation, nausea, and eye strain, particularly for individuals with photosensitive epilepsy, where exposure to flashing lights can induce seizures. This phenomenon is often referred to as flicker vertigo. Key health concerns associated with strobing lights: migraines. Flickering lights can trigger or worsen migraines. Seizures for people with photosensitive epilepsy. Flicker vertigo. This condition involves dizziness, nausea, rapid eye movement, and disorientation caused by strobing lights. Eye strain, rapidly changing light intensity can strain the eye muscles, leading to discomfort and fatigue. Visual disturbances, some individuals might experience flashes of light or visual disturbances when exposed to strobing lights, and cognitive impairment. Studies suggest flickering lights can contribute to decreased cognitive and function and mental fatigue. Important points to consider: frequency and intensity. The frequency and intensity of the flashing light play a significant role in how strongly it affects individuals. Individual sensitivity. Some people are more susceptible to the negative effects of flashing lights than others, and precautions for sensitive individuals. If you experience discomfort from flashing lights, it's important to avoid environments with strobing lights and consider wearing special glasses that can filter out rapid light fluctuations. As you may know, if you go to a movie theater and there's typically a disclaimer on movies prior to them being shown that does warn if there are bright or flashing lights, and that seems to be acceptable there, but sometimes we don't realize that this is also found outside of those types of situations. As I stated at a recent City Council meeting, enforcement seems not to exist for the clear violations that have been identified. Before more of these visual blight polluting signs are added to our community, enforce what exists according to our ordinance. The currently displayed signs are very sophisticated electronic creations. They can be adjusted and set to comply with whatever zoning requires, which apparently is a 10-second hold on the sign and then changing. No blinking, flashing, strobing, nor quick rotation of sign information. Plus, the current signs must be dimmed and static or shut down at night in order to protect the night sky, which is what is quoted in the city's own words from the permit stipulations. Correct this problem to comply with our city's character and ambiance and to protect individuals who are negatively impacted by these violations. And I understand that enforcement there seems to be at Phoenix Street on Broadway. Have been several warnings given with no change. And it was my understanding that with an ordinance, you get a warning and then you are given a violation. So I don't...
You have 1 minute.
Okay. I don't know what's going on there. Many of us have requested the discontinued use of permanent-looking STR property identification and advertising signs in our neighborhood. With the new STR Code of Ordinance revisions, STRs are identified as commercial properties. They are able to advertise online and all the places where people advertise their commercial businesses. They don't need big signs in our residential neighborhoods. This is an obsolete notion. It is reasonable and agreeable to many residents to settle for a small banded sign like the size of a political sign up against the house or next to the registration in the window. The place for this regulation is in the STR Code of Ordinance, not in the regular zoning ordinance where things like for sale signs are considered and regulated. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Joe Wilkins, 811 Indiana Street. I want to welcome, I believe, the new chief. I believe the staff got it right. I was part of that interviewing group, and he definitely stood out. And I just want to welcome him to South Haven and maybe suggest that he put on the calendar time, so to say, a time to maybe meet with the stakeholders or have some type of open forum where the community can get to greet him in a more open way, ask questions. So I think that would be a great idea if he could do that. Also, I was told a couple of days ago that there was a workshop in regards to throwing out whether or not, looking at rezoning map for the master plan. And what came out of that was they were throwing around the idea of using mixed use for one block in the south side of Ward 1. I was totally against that. Now, this way, I was hoping that Doucette would be here. Ms. Doucette would be here, but she's not here. I am totally against, I'm not against people wanting to invest and do different things. I'm against apartment complexes on residential streets. Apartment complexes, for rent on residential streets. I know we have duplexes. I know, someone brought up Green Street Apartments. I know that we have those old buildings that were turned into apartments and all that. I know that going forward, I do not agree with flagging a block on the south side and opening it up, rezoning it for mixed use just to allow a person to put in apartment complex on a residential street. I don't agree with that. If mixed use is so innocent and it's the right thing to do, I'm going to suggest to this council, if that's the process that it comes to the council, I'm not really sure, but if it is, then blanket the whole city of South Haven with mixed use. Let all Ward 3 be mixed use. Let all Ward 2 be mixed use. Let all Ward 1 be mixed use. If there's no real issue or harm to the neighborhood, then open it up and just blanket the whole city of South Haven with mixed use. If we can't do that, then I don't think we should make a couple of blocks mixed use just to meet a desire of a few people. And so because I believe if down the road, if we have a council or government that is supportive of STRs and other things like that these buildings or that we've allowed to come into our resident can easily turn into STRs and other things like that. So, and besides, you can have anything next to you if you start doing that, next to a residential home, R1, in our R1 area. So any type of business. So I don't want, personally, my opinion, and if they backdoor that, I would be very unhappy. I don't want allow any blocks on the south side of Ward 1 to be mixed use if we're not going to do it for the whole city of South Haven. I don't know. I think you all don't talk back to me, do you? I can't ask a question?
No.
Oh, man, we're friends. I like all the councils, and I'm in love with one. So.
Thank you.
It's not him. It's going record. It's not
You
him.
have 1 minute.
Well, anyway, I don't want to see that done. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? If not, we will move on to city manager's comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks to Chief Swope. This is his first day. I know he's had a jam-packed schedule. We did want to schedule his swearing-in ceremony for the next council meeting so his family can be here, so we'll be putting that on the agenda. Very pleased to have him here. Also very appreciative and thankful to Sergeant Pat Carlotto for his guidance and his leadership in that interim period. We're kind of wrapping up things from the holiday season. If you do have a Christmas tree, please get it out on the parkway by next week, next Wednesday, so we can get that picked up for free. We have been working on a number of things. I'm very pleased to have the Overton parcel. We'd have a proposal that we can go forward with and start looking at that. That's a big deal for our city. I know we've been looking at that for some time. While we did only have the one proposal, I think it was a proposal that meets a lot of the needs that council members have been looking for. I've already just reached out to Chris Brewster from USLA. We'll get those signatures tomorrow from you, Mayor, and get started on our process. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Okay, time for mayor and councilperson's comments. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. First, thanks to DPW for doing the leaf, and I know the announcement was if they were not picked up by January 3rd to bag them. Is it being extended at all in light of the fact that I think both trucks were non-working?
I'd have to check with staff. I'm not sure where things stand right now.
Okay, and I do know, I have started to see some Christmas trees. Unfortunately, some of them are going into the road, so just remind people to please make sure it's in the curb lawn and not in the road. One was on, I think LaGrange, I can't remember fairly busy section. Do you have any update on the STR ordinances?
Well, I'm glad you asked. We're looking at January 23rd. I know there's a memo that council will be receiving here based on the motion that Mr. Reeser made to have the city attorney review the amendments submitted by Ms. Hosley. So that memo should be coming out. I'd like to schedule a workshop on January 23rd. It's a Thursday. Hopefully, we can meet at 5 o'clock, so we have to meet too late at night. Or even 4 o'clock if we can get started earlier. I'm just looking for council's guidance, but if January 23rd works, I'd like to have a workshop date then.
It can't be any sooner because we're really coming up to a hard stop, and those drafts were provided to you October 24th, so this will be 3 months since they were sent to you.
Yep, and the city attorney did receive those, and the city attorney, we now have Cliff Bloom is being tagged out, and Dave Eberly is coming in. He just had their first addition to the family. He's on maternity leave. He comes back on the 21st. And I know how much you guys like to have 4-hour meetings, but instead of that, I know we want to have some time and really go through this. So rather than having a 5 o'clock meeting on the 21st, Tuesday, I'm proposing for the Thursday at either 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock.
Thank you. Any other questions for Kate?
Just, you looking for feedback for the 23rd?
Yes, please.
That does work for me.
Okay, if it does not work for anybody, I think that's also good feedback too, so. And if we can get started sooner rather than later, because I know that I think maybe 4 o'clock meets most of our schedules. I'm looking at the folks that are, get out with the school bell rings, so.
That time works for me as well.
Okay.
Me too.
And when will we have the information from them to start reviewing it?
Here in the next day or two.
Okay.
Jeff, did you have a question? No. Okay. Nope. Wendy? Anyone? Yeah.
And Joe, I think that you're here that week, if I
Yes.
remember correctly. Okay.
I guess I should say, I'm not sure of my schedule, but I might be able to do 4. I would just possibly be a couple minutes late, depending on work.
Okay.
Yep,
If-
and I have to check mine.
Okay.
Same much, check.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Councilperson's comments. Councilmember Wilkins?
First, I want to say thanks to everyone who came out on tonight, and I want to say welcome to our new chief. I am excited to get to know you, and I think you'll love our community. We're a wonderful community. And I also want to say thank you to the mayor and the city manager who worked hard to push this, the Overton properties that we have been wanting for a very, very long time. And it has been one of our top priorities. And I'm just excited to see it finally go forth. So, Happy New Year's to everyone. We made it to 2025, and I am grateful, and I think everybody in here is grateful. And those are my comments for tonight.
Thank you. George, is your birthday tomorrow?
It is, yes.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Go ahead with comments.
I also want to thank everyone that came here today, also everyone that watched remotely. I know there's a lot of people out there that watch these meetings, and because I get feedback from people that weren't here. So I am also very pleased with the progress on the Overton site. The proposal as it is right now is very exciting to me, so I'm happy for that. That's it.
Thank you. Joe?
As George has said, I also am very hopeful. I'm very optimistic about Overton. I am really pleased that the apartments have various price points meeting the needs of a diverse clientele, first residents that will be able to afford it, and the homes, and I still believe home ownership is, from what I just got done reading an article, one of the key ways for people to acquire wealth in a lifetime. And with the land trust all under one umbrella, this will really help people be able to buy a duplex in that property. So that's really encouraging. I hope we do everything right to make sure that that land is contamination-free enough to be safe for people living there. It's really important, and I think we can accomplish it. And I don't see that stopping us. The lifeguards, again, I'm really happy with the choice, USLA, that staff made. I think they're going to be excellent. I think it's not going to be real easy putting this together, but now we have a company that can walk us through this thing, which we didn't have before. The only negative I want to say at the end here is I'm disappointed tonight that we didn't have STRs and that proposal back from the lawyer, and I'm hoping that gets done before or during the next city council meeting. The clock is ticking. Everybody in this community is waiting for this to come to fruition, and I think we've got enough information to the lawyer. They should be able to come back with something for us to look at, evaluate, and approve, and move on.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mary?
Yes, I echo Joe's concern with the STR, and unfortunately, Joe, the workshop is after our next meeting on the 20th, so I don't expect much on the 20th, unfortunately.
Our next meeting is on the 21st.
It's still before the workshop, sorry. With regard to planning commission, so the planning commission list was not on this agenda. Kate, I hope you can get it on the next agenda. That was provided with the new zoning ordinance update that we have approved. There was a list that the chair had requested the city council to review and comment on. It's pretty minor. It's less than a page. It's just a handful of items. It could even be a consent agenda item. I'd like to address some of the comments for the master plan. So there was a workshop after our planning commission meeting, and we are looking at the future land use map as part of the master plan update. And because I believe it was Daryl Williams had wanted to renovate and do some apartments, there was an inquiry about doing a future having housing be part of the future land use map. Some of the zoning districts that were urban attached, that were supposed to be just for housing, were condensed with mixed use. And I know that Bishop Wilkins is not the only one concerned about what is happening. I know residents on the third ward on the north side are also concerned with some of the proposed changes to the master plan future land use. And as I'm telling everybody, right now we're anxiously awaiting the narratives that will go with those descriptions that will be in the future land use map. And that is where the details are going to make or break it. And I will be making sure that people are aware of the workshops and what the narratives are, because I do agree that housing is a big concern, and we need to protect our residential neighborhoods, that they need to remain residential, and that we don't want to open a door for units to become short-term rentals. And I do believe that what is right for the residential is the duplexes, triplexes, those missing middle type housing that Ryan Kilpatrick spoke about. It was a workshop that we had as part of the master plan update. And apartment buildings were not really part of that discussion. And so that is in the hands of our consultants. And I am looking forward to getting that and having a robust discussion if necessary at Planning Commission. Also, thank you to everyone who attended, who are watching, and those who also wrote in by email. I do appreciate the communications, and welcome Chief Swoop. It was nice chatting right before the meeting. And another thank you to DPW for the leaves. I know that they were really getting problematic on the north side.
Wendy?
I also just wanted to welcome the new police chief, and I am just overall really excited to see a lot of our council priorities being moved forward today, and then other ones coming up in the near future. It feels good, especially when we're all unanimous on something that's important and good for our community. So I feel really great right now leaving this meeting knowing that we're making strides forward. And Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you.
Almost do it again. First, I'm going to apologize to Wendy and to our guests from dwelling unit when I had that little frog in my throat, that tickle. Couldn't stop coughing. Sorry about that. I wanted to welcome Chief. Glad to have you here. And thanks to Sergeant Carlotto for steering the ship in the meantime. He did a great job. A pretty exciting day today at the high school because we also had Mrs. Aleman began her first day as the new superintendent. And she poked her head in on the very first day in my classroom and said hello, so it was good to meet her. And happy birthday to George tomorrow. And Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you. I just want to thank my colleagues for the unanimous support on two of our top priorities. The approval of Overton is a great way to start the new year. So thanks for everyone's support. We had great community support too. So I'm excited about this year. So thank you very much. That's all, and the City Council is going to be asked to go into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268, 1E, to discuss trial and/or litigation strategy in pending litigation of Mary Hosley versus the City of South Haven, case number 220719441CZ, pending in the Van Buren County Circuit Court. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I move that we go into closed session.
Second.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Discussion. The statute, E, requires that it goes into closed session. The language specifically says to consult with its attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with specific pending litigation, but only if an open meeting would have a detrimental financial effect on the litigation or settlement position of the public body, and I believe that that must be part of the motion.
This is the language that came from our attorney, Andy Brege. If I need to have him come up here to clarify that, we can, but quite honestly, this is how we've gone into closed session, and I don't see why this is not legally sufficient now.
Okay, well, my parliamentary training had said otherwise.
Could we have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Hosley,
Abstain.
Onuki,
Yes.
and Brown.
Yes. Thank you.
Now closed session.